It is such a pleasure to be with you as we prepare for Havdalah, that separation between Shabbat and the week to come, just as we welcome Shabbat by lighting candles, by saying a blessing over wine. So too will we say goodbye to Shabbat with the same ritual elements as well as the spices, which cheer our soul, but my soul and that of this community is cheered by being here this evening with Sierra Fox. Sierra is our Cantorial Student, our student intern, our student cantor for the next year. And I thought we could use this opportunity of Havdalah before we get into the blessings to just get to know you a little bit. So tell us the story. Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Philadelphia, and my dad teaches at the University of Delaware. So we moved to the kind of Maryland, Delaware area, just an hour outside of Philadelphia, so not too far. We wanted a place that had enough land that my mom could have a raku shed. She's a potter. And it was also close enough to the university so that it was a quick trip for him. And we ended up in Elkton, Maryland, which is a strange town, but our home was right up against this nature conservatory. So it was beautiful and lots of trees and wildlife and a really nice place to grow up. So.
And right along a fun corridor, kind of the DC, Philadelphia,
Absolutely.
New York stretch, which is where you find yourself right now.
Definitely.
You found a place in New York as you enter the second year of the Hebrew Union College.
I did, in Brooklyn, a really nice neighborhood that I'm really excited about and reminds me of Philadelphia in a lot of ways. So, yeah, feel at home.
I missed the kind of live in New York phase of life, which I feel is kind of a rite of passage that most people do it for a little bit and then escape it, and some, particularly crazy, choose to stay. Have you lived in New York before? Is this a first time in the big city?
Well, I've lived in New York State, which, we would say, well, that's New York, but people who live in the city would say that's not New York. So I went to undergrad in Syracuse, went to Syracuse University and lived there and loved it, despite all of the snow and the gray and realizing the first time the sun came out in maybe April that you hadn't seen the sun in many, many months. But I really loved it there, and have friends and visit a lot. But we never really spent much time in the city. It was far enough away that I thought to myself, "Oh, I'm in New York. I'll go to the city." And it was farther away than it was from my spot in Maryland. So we didn't spend much time in the city.
Fair.
So this is all brand new, and I had been to Brooklyn once before, singing at King's Theater. And it turns out that during our break, the one place I went to visit is the street that I ended up moving to. So it's that nice little connection and makes it feel a little more at home. Plus, I know one cafe already that I really like.
That's awesome. And speaking of feeling a little bit more at home, if you're used to the doom and gloom of Syracuse, Pittsburgh is going to feel like a second home to
The
you.
weather here is already beautiful, wonderful. A little less humidity than it was in Maryland, and a little less grimy than Philadelphia and New York. So this is beautiful.
Perfect.
We're watching the sunset now, and it's just magnificent.
It's true. I wish we could flip the camera around and show you the view from the Beit HaT'filah, that you could see the sunset setting for us. But this isn't your first time in Pittsburgh. You were here once before.
I was when I was a kid. I have some cousins who live here, and I came to visit one of them. And all I remember is we went to Kennywood, and it was very exciting, and I loved it until I came down with chickenpox while there, which was an experience probably as much for my poor cousin who had to try to take care of me in the midst of that as it was for me as 10 or 11, 12-year-old. But someday I'll go back to Kennywood and have a wonderful time, I'm sure.
Emily and the kids have been. I have not been. Certainly a fan of roller coasters, and I'm jealous of those congregants I know who are at Cedar Point this weekend. But I haven't made it over to Kennywood just yet.
Well,
Maybe
I hear
we'll
it's
have to
the
go.
place to be
Right?
for
We'll take
roller
the
coasters.
congregation.
So
Exactly.
field trip.
Right. Shavua Tov to Joy and to Tiffany and to everyone who is joining us. It is such a pleasure to be here, getting a chance to meet Sierra Fox, our student cantor, for the next year. There are going to be many, many opportunities to get to know her. She'll be with us roughly every other weekend for B'nai Mitzvah, for holiday celebrations, including the high holidays, God and COVID willing. And I'm so excited for you to get to meet, to get to enjoy her presence and her pastoral presence as much as I have in just getting to know her these past couple of days. We transition now into the blessings as we prepare for that separation with the onset of evening, asking for a bit of peace in our hearts with words of Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
If you happen to have a multi-wicked candle, or perhaps two candles to hold together, some wine, some juice, some sweetness from Shabbat, some spices to enliven your soul, I invite you to grab those, or perhaps to just join in vicariously with us as we say these blessings, as we say goodbye to Shabbat and prepare for the week ahead.
Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, borei peri hagafen. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei minei besamim, borei minei besamim. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei meorei ha'esh, borei meorei ha'esh.
המבדיל בין קודש לחול, המבדיל בין קודש לחול. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי לי. המבדיל בין קודש לחול, חטאותינו כבויים חול, זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה. שבוע טוב, 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 שבוע טוב.
May it be an incredible week ahead, a week filled with the company of good friends and family, with the sweetness of Shabbat that we drag into the week. And may Elijah's presence be with us speedily and soon, a herald of better days to come.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu HaT'filah, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu HaGiladi, Bimhera ve'aleinu, Yavo aleinu, Im Mashiach ben David, Im Mashiach ben David.
I forgot to ask at the beginning, do you have a favorite Olympic sport? I realize they're kind of wrapping up, but there are a few more days, a few more hours of viewing with that 13-hour difference. Do you have a favorite, at least summer Olympic sport?
It's hard not to say gymnastics, especially with just all of the world-changing things Simone Biles is doing, and, you know, just making waves in our ability to talk about our mental health and prioritize our health in general. It's been just absolutely inspiring to watch her anytime she does anything. And really the whole U.S. Olympic gymnastics team, amazing.
It's true. There have been so many stories of resilience and Olympians stretching not only their bodies but their minds in wonderful ways. As a albeit slow runner, I've enjoyed watching the runners and seeing Allyson Felix become the most decorated runner through 4 Olympic Games, which is a long time to be running. And she has proven that it's not all about being young and fit, but mentally in the game as well, to continue getting back on that horse. And truly, there are so many who are an inspiration for all of us. Sierra, welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you here. I hope that it is a wonderful year here with us in Pittsburgh. And for everyone who has joined us this evening, I hope it is a wonderful week. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov. Thank you so much.